I wasn't supposed to see that file. They ranked us by trauma, tracked who was easiest to manipulate, who might resist, and who needed to disappear. My name was marked in red. And now I know why. I haven't slept in 2 nights. There's something about hallway silence at 3 a.m. that makes you think every creak is a message. I keep hearing the sound of burning paper. I know what I saw. But nobody believes the quiet kid from 7B. My name's Maelie. I'm 15, live in a 30-floor apartment tower called Ridgeview North. The kind of place with broken elevators, fake smiles, and laminated neighborhood watch signs nobody actually follows. My mom works nights at the trauma unit. My dad's somewhere in Idaho with his second family. So it's mostly just me, a microwave burrito, and the buzzing of our fridge. It started 3 months ago, when the new tenant moved into 13F. His name was Mr. Grayson, but I only learned that from the mail slot. Nobody in the building had spoken to him. Not even Ramona from 15A, who talks to plants and considers herself the emotional mayor of Ridgeview. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He didn't decorate his door for Halloween. He installed a keypad lock with a backup generator and 4 cameras. Everyone thought he was paranoid. I thought he was interesting. You ever feel like someone is watching something other than you? But you're still in the way? From the start, people whispered about him. Too quiet. Too private. Once I heard my mom say he had the kind of energy you don't let near schools. But that wasn't what made me start watching him. What got me was what he did on Friday nights. At exactly 2:14 a.m. every Friday, he'd go down to the basement incinerator, the one no one uses because the building trash system is automated. He'd open the hatch, take out a box from his duffel bag, and slowly feed the contents into the flames. I only saw it because I couldn't sleep and started walking the halls at night with my phone flashlight and socks. One night I peeked around the corner and saw what he was burning: photographs. They weren't his. They were of children, toddlers, class photos, smiling school portraits with crooked teeth and crayon-colored hearts. I saw him watch one burn until only the kid's half-face remained. That's when I started keeping notes. 11:58 p.m., Grayson leaves with duffel. 2:14 a.m., basement activity. Photographs equals not duplicates, handwritten names on some. Possible evidence? Maybe I've read too many true crime subs. Maybe I've seen one too many, he seemed normal documentaries. But every instinct in my gut was screaming. He's not what he says he is. I told my mom. She told me I was being dramatic. You've always had an overactive imagination, Maelie. Just because a man's quiet doesn't make him a criminal. But then something happened I can't unsee. One night, after I'd seen him burn another batch of photos, I snuck down to the incinerator after he left. I expected ashes. But I found something he missed. A photo corner still intact, with the words "Safe Now April 18th" scribbled in blue marker on the back. It was my neighbor's son, Nico from 6C, 5 years old, except Nico had never gone missing. He still played on the sidewalk in the afternoons. He still rode his scooter in circles yelling "V-room." So why did Mr. Grayson have his photo? And why did he burn it like a classified file? You probably think I should have stopped there. But here's the thing. I don't let go once I start digging. I waited until Friday, hid behind the laundry chute, followed Grayson down. And that's when I saw it. He wasn't burning evidence of his victims. He was burning case files. And in one of those files was a picture of someone I recognized. Not a kid. A man. One I see every week at school, in a counselor's badge and tie. The corner of that photo showed the school's logo, and a date scrawled underneath. It was next Tuesday. Something's coming. And I'm the only one who knows. I wish I could say I panicked, ran straight to the principal or told the school board or did what a normal person would do. But I didn't. I just stood there in the dark, watching the edges of the photo curl in the heat. And something inside me cracked. The man in the picture was Mr. Cadell, our student counselor. The "you can always talk to me" guy. The one who called himself a trauma-informed adult, and had cartoon stickers on his laptop. He ran the after-school mentorship program, led group chats for at-risk youth, and always sat way too close during one-on-ones. But that photo? It wasn't candid. It was surveillance. Black and white, grainy, like a frame from security footage. The date written on the back said, April 23rd, Gym Corridor, 7:12 p.m. That was next week. You ever feel like the world has already moved past a warning you're just now waking up to? I left that incinerator shaking so badly I tripped on the first stair and scraped my knee. I didn't feel it. I just kept walking 1 floor 210 until I was back in our hallway. I slid down against our door, heart slamming like it wanted out of my chest. For the next 3 days, I didn't say a word. Not to my mom. Not to anyone. I just watched. Watched Grayson quiet, methodical, never looking up. Watched Mr. Cadell, louder than ever, patting kids on the back, slipping snack bars into their backpacks, hosting safe space movie nights in the auditorium. And watched myself fall into a rabbit hole that no adult seemed willing to look down. I started going early to school. Not for classes, for the cameras. I memorized angles, watched footage loops where security guards weren't paying attention. I realized something sickening. The blind spots in the system weren't accidents. They were planned. Cadell's office? No camera inside. No camera outside. Just one at the far end of the hall facing the other direction. Why would anyone design it like that, unless they wanted to hide what happened behind that door? Public versus private. I started writing it in my notebook like a math equation. Instagram, movie night. Bringing support plus joy to our amazing students. Real life, a boy from 9th grade who left in tears and never came back. The stories were there. Just scattered. One girl skipped his sessions and he gave her a 3-day detention for disrespect. One boy transferred schools in the middle of a semester and nobody ever explained why. They weren't allowed to talk about it. And I wasn't supposed to ask. So yeah, I asked anyway. I cornered Leah, a junior who used to be on his student council program. I told her I was working on a report for journalism class, not technically a lie. Her face went pale when I mentioned his name. He's helpful, she said, too fast. Really? Invested. Then she added quietly. You should stay away from him. You ever hear a warning that sounds like someone's trying not to cry? That same night, I tried to talk to my mom again. Sat her down in the kitchen while the pasta boiled over. Told her I had a bad feeling about someone at school. I didn't say names, not yet. I wanted to see if she'd take it seriously. She said I should let the professionals handle it. That if something were really wrong, someone would have noticed already. I almost laughed. Because isn't that always the thing adults say? If it were serious, someone would have done something. You know what I've learned? Silence is the most socially acceptable crime there is. That night, I opened a new folder on my phone. Watch list, locked behind a 6-digit code and a fake calculator app. I uploaded everything. Notes about Grayson's basement trips. Screenshots of Cadell's social posts. Dates and times of hallway incidents I'd witnessed. Audio clips from group sessions I secretly recorded. I wasn't just watching anymore. I was building my own case. Then something happened that made everything feel real in a way it hadn't before. I got a message. From a random number. No name. You're asking the right questions. But you're not the only one watching. You ever feel like you're not the hunter but the bait? That message was followed by a photo. It was of me sitting outside Mr. Cadell's office. And the timestamp? Tomorrow. 3:47 p.m. There's a moment your brain can't quite process, even when the facts are obvious. That message wasn't threatening. It didn't say stop. It didn't say we see you. It said, you're not the only one watching. But it felt worse. Because whoever sent it knew exactly where I'd be tomorrow. Down to the minute. And they had a photo to prove it. You ever wonder what it means when someone knows your routine better than you do? I didn't sleep that night. I tried to delete the message. Couldn't. My thumb just hovered. Like if I erased it, I'd be erasing the proof. So instead I screenshotted it. Added it to my watch list folder. And locked it. Again. The next day I skipped school. I told my mom I had cramps. She didn't ask questions. Just tossed 2 ibuprofen into my cereal bowl and left for her shift. I waited until the apartment was silent. Then I walked down to 13F. Mr. Grayson didn't answer the door the first time. Or the second. But on the third knock, I heard the lock disengage, not with a click, but a hum. Like biometric access. The door opened halfway. Just enough for him to see me. You shouldn't be here, he said. I nodded. I know. But I saw the photo. The one with Cadell. You're watching him too. He didn't react the way I thought he would. No surprise, no panic. Just a very slow blink. Then a wordless gesture, come in. His apartment didn't look like a predator's. It looked like a server farm. 6 monitors lined one wall. 4 showed exterior building angles. The other 2 had live feeds of the school. I saw locker corridors. Stairwell angles. A hallway outside the counselor's office. Before you ask, he said, I don't hack. These are public feeds. And gaps I filled with my own angles. Legally, gray. You sent the message? No, he said. But I know who did. That was the first time I realized this wasn't just about my apartment building. Or my school. There was a network. And Grayson? He was just one node. He pulled out a thin manila folder, no label. Inside, photos, court papers, screenshots of police reports. Mr. Cadell's face showed up in all of them. Different cities. Different aliases. Different schools. You're not the first to notice, Grayson said. But you might be the first who isn't on his radar. Yet. I didn't know what to say. I'm 15. I'm not trained for this. I skipped lunch to finish math homework. But somehow I was in a room with a surveillance analyst who knew more about the people around me than any adult had bothered to learn. What does he want? I asked. Grayson tapped the folder. What they always want. Access. Trust. Anonymity. And what are you doing? He looked me straight in the eyes. Ending him. This time, without prison getting in the way. That's when he told me the truth. He'd done this before. 3 years ago, another school. Another counselor. Another list of kids who were told to keep secrets for their own good. Grayson had built a case, gone to the police. They'd warned him off. Said he was harassing an educator. So Grayson did what he thought was right. He exposed everything. Publicly. Loudly. And got arrested for violating privacy laws. You probably think he's reckless. Maybe even dangerous. But answer me this. If the system protects monsters, what choice do the witnesses have? I asked him what he wanted from me. Nothing, he said. Except to stop being careless. That stung more than I expected. Because he was right. I'd wandered in like a tourist in a war zone. He handed me a piece of paper. A date. A location. April 23rd, auditorium. 7 p.m. A fake trauma workshop Cadell was hosting for selected students. He slid me a micro-recorder the size of a coin. Stick it in your pencil pouch. Don't talk. Just listen. I wasn't sure if I nodded or trembled. But I took it. Then he said something that still echoes in my head. You don't have to believe me. But I believe you saw what you saw. That matters more than you know. I walked out feeling like my shoes were made of bricks. The hallway was brighter than usual. Louder. But I didn't hear any of it. At home, I took the recorder and hid it behind my phone case. I looked at my notes. Then at the calendar. 3 days until April 23rd. And Cadell had already handed out the invitations. Except I didn't get one. My friend Leah did. I don't know what you would have done, but here's what I did. I stole her invite while she was in the bathroom. And I used it to sign myself up. I didn't sleep the night before the workshop. Not from fear that had already curdled into something colder, but from planning. What to wear. Where to sit. Where the doors were. I even timed how long it took to walk from the auditorium exit to the security desk. 42 seconds. 37 if I ran. My name wasn't on the official list. But I knew how to talk like I belonged. Leah got sick, I told the admin at the check-in table, holding up her crumpled invite. She asked me to go in her place. The woman barely looked up. Just nodded and handed me a sticker that read, "Hello, I'm ready to heal." Cute. The room smelled like citrus cleaner and linoleum sweat. One big circle of folding chairs. A snack table with gluten-free brownies. Low lighting, soft indie music in the background. Everything about it screamed safe space, which ironically made it feel more like a trap. Cadell walked in 10 minutes late, holding a clipboard and a mug that said, "Listening is revolutionary." He smiled. That slow, fatherly, I understand you smile. The one that makes people lean in without realizing they're falling. "Welcome," he said softly. "You're here because someone believed in your need to be heard. I was here because someone knew what he did with those who needed to be heard." He began with an icebreaker. A vulnerability prompt. If you could erase one memory, what would it be? A girl next to me, I think her name was Jasmine, said something about her parents' divorce. A boy mumbled about his dog dying. It felt staged. Like they'd been coached. Like he'd heard these before. I kept my head down. Let my recorder pick up every word. Every pause. Every shift in tone when Cadell leaned closer to certain kids. Not touching, but hovering, that manipulative empathy that feels like warmth until you realize it's possession. You ever sit in a room full of people and realize every one of them is holding a different kind of silence? About 20 minutes in, things got weird. He passed around blank note cards. "Write something you've never told anyone," he said. "Then fold it and put it in the center." Nobody wanted to go first. So he did. Dropped his card on the floor with theatrical grace. Then nodded. "I'll read them at the end." Anonymously. Sometimes our truth is louder without names. That's when my panic kicked in. Because I knew what he was doing. He'd read them. Memorize handwriting. Use their fears as leverage. That's how predators move, slowly. Disguised as trust. I wrote nothing. Just folded the blank card 3 times and dropped it in with the rest. The recorder in my bag was still blinking red. Cadell's voice lowered. "Some of you may feel nervous," he said. "But what we share here stays here." He stared straight at me. Not around me. Not past me. At me. "You don't have to be scared, Maelie." I froze. I hadn't given my name. No one had. I didn't even sign the check-in sheet. You ever feel the ground tilt under you even though you're sitting still? I forced a nod. But inside I was spiraling. How did he know? Had someone tipped him off? Had he seen me watching? He ended the workshop 30 minutes early. "Sometimes healing happens faster than we expect," he said. "We'll pick this up next week. Same time. He smiled again. That molasses smile. Sticky and sweet and toxic underneath. The moment the door closed behind him, I ran. Not to the lobby. To the bathroom, where I locked the stall and breathed like I'd just escaped a fire. I texted Grayson. He knew my name. I never told him. He made eye contact the entire time. He replied in less than 10 seconds. You were compromised. Someone outed you. The recorder. Still running. Got everything. Then one more message. Meet me tonight. Rooftop. 10 p.m. Bring the bag. I spent the rest of the afternoon in a fog. Mom thought I was coming down with something. She left ginger tea and shut my door gently. You ever sit in your room and wonder if your own floor plan is part of a larger game board? At 10 o'clock sharp, I climbed the fire stairs to the rooftop. Grayson was already there, hoodie, gloves, clipboard. He didn't speak. Just took the recorder, plugged it into a laptop, and started listening. And what I saw on his screen made my breath stop. He didn't just have audio. He had video. From inside the auditorium. From 2 angles. I looked at him in horror. You filmed. He didn't flinch. You think they won't believe you now? On the screen, Cadell leaned forward, voice calm, eyes soft. And then, clear as crystal, he said my name. You probably think this is the moment I finally felt safe. It wasn't. It was the moment I realized he'd known all along. And as I stood there, heart racing, Grayson pointed at the screen. Watch the last 10 seconds. See the girl behind you. She slipped something into your bag. You ever replay a moment so many times it feels fake? Like your memory became someone else's movie? I kept watching that footage. Over and over. The same 10 seconds. Same body language. Same betrayal. The girl behind me, braided ponytail, Hello Kitty hoodie, was Leah. My friend. The one I'd stolen the invite from. The one who told me to stay away from Cadell. The one who'd warned me, or led me. I froze the video right as her hand dipped into my bag. Paused on the split second her fingers disappeared. Then again on the flicker of her smile when I didn't notice. Grayson didn't speak. He didn't have to. Because there it was. My first friend in this story was never on my side. I ran down the stairs so fast I nearly tripped twice. By the time I hit our floor, my lungs were on fire and my brain was boiling. I didn't even think. I just banged on Leah's door. She opened it wearing earbuds and a bowl of popcorn. Are you okay? You put something in my bag. Her expression didn't change. Just a blank, practiced shrug. I don't know what you're talking about. You were behind me. During the workshop. I have it on video. What did you give him? Nothing. Not a flinch. Not a flicker of guilt. You shouldn't be digging into things you don't understand, Maelie. There it was. The shift. You warned me about him, I hissed. You said to stay away. I warned you because I knew you wouldn't listen. And I needed you to get close. My skin went cold. She set down her popcorn and stepped into the hall. Closed the door behind her. You think you're some kind of detective. But this isn't a game. People get hurt. People like Grayson, they ruin things before we're ready. Some of us aren't trying to destroy him. Some of us are trying to survive. She looked at me like I was stupid. Like I was still a kid. Like she'd already made peace with everything I was just starting to uncover. You think he's the only one who watches, she said. He's being watched too. I didn't know what to say. Because suddenly the map in my mind split in two. On one side, Grayson. Vigilante. Exposing predators. On the other, Leah. Smiling. Calm. Embedded. What if she was protecting Cadell? What if she was protecting someone else entirely? Before I could ask, she said something that chilled me. You're not the first girl he's tried to recruit. You're just the one he thinks he can fix. And then without waiting, she walked away. Left me in the hallway, alone, confused, shaking. Brain, I don't know if you've ever looked at someone and realized they were a puzzle you solved all wrong. Back in my room, I tore open my bag. And there it was. Not a camera. Not a tracker. A folder. Slim, unmarked, wedged beneath the stitching. I opened it slowly. And nearly vomited. Inside were screenshots of texts. Emails. DM threads. All from kids at my school. Some were jokes. Some weren't. But in the margins, someone had annotated them. High risk, unstable. Has history of family trauma. Father absent, mother works nights, target potential high. They were profiles. Risk assessments. Recruitment notes. On one page was a name I recognized. Mine. Shows signs of surveillance obsession. Ideal test subject for narrative manipulation. I dropped the folder like it was burning. This wasn't just about watching predators. This was about how you build one. I texted Grayson in all caps. I found files on me. In my own backpack. Planted. Annotated. Who else is involved? He didn't respond for 5 minutes. Then. Calm. Listen. If that folder exists, it's not Cadell's. It's theirs. Who's theirs? The funders. The real operation. The ones who placed Cadell. And maybe Leah. It wasn't just one man. It was an entire program. Grayson called it behavioral tier systems. A covert grooming model disguised as mentorship. Piloted in underfunded schools. Sold to donors as trauma-informed intervention. Used to recruit vulnerable teens not just for abuse but for loyalty. They're building informants, he said. Training kids to monitor each other. Then isolating the ones who don't conform. And me? I was flagged as a problem. A watcher who couldn't be redirected. I sat on my bed, folder open, vision blurring. They'd marked me. And now they were preparing to silence me. I threw the folder in my closet and started packing a bag. Then the fire alarm went off. Loud. Urgent. And someone knocked on the door 3 times. Not the police. Not my mom. Grayson. And he wasn't alone. The fire alarm was a diversion. That's what Grayson whispered the moment I opened the door. This isn't a drill. We have 4 minutes. Maybe 5? Behind him stood a woman I didn't recognize. Late 30s, sharp eyes, long coat, no smile. She's not with them, he said. She's with me. We didn't go down the stairs. We went up, to the maintenance level above the top floor. Through a crawl space. Out a door that shouldn't have existed. And suddenly we were in the parking structure across the alley. I don't understand, I kept saying. You will, Grayson said. But first you need to disappear. That was 3 days ago. Since then I've been sick. At least that's what my mom thinks. The school thinks I'm undergoing psychological evaluation. The district thinks I'm under review for potential defamation of faculty. Cadell filed a formal report the day after the workshop. He said I fabricated accusations. Said I accessed illegal surveillance. Said I hacked school systems and tried to recruit others into a paranoia narrative. They used that exact phrase. Paranoia narrative. That's what they do, twist the story into something diagnosable. Now I'm not brave. I'm troubled. Now I'm not alert. I'm obsessed. You ever watch your name get turned into a cautionary tale while you're still breathing? Mom was furious when she found out. But not at them. At me. What were you thinking, Maelie? You broke into people's files? You spied on your own counselor? I tried to explain. I showed her the folder, the printouts, the annotations. But she didn't want evidence. She wanted normal back. Do you know what this looks like? She snapped. Do you know how this affects my job? Our reputation. I wanted to scream. But I just stood there, holding the truth in my hands while she looked through me like I was the problem. You ever feel like the house you're trying to save is the one throwing you out? They sent a representative from the district to our apartment. Nice suit. Empty eyes. She spoke in legalese, kept smiling. Said I could still reintegrate if I apologize for creating disruption. She handed me a typed statement to read. And I misunderstood script. And I regret my actions monologue. I didn't read it. Instead, I looked her in the eye and asked, who funds the behavioral tier systems program? She blinked. Excuse me. You heard me. Her face hardened. You're very smart, Maelie. But smart doesn't mean right. And just like that, the door closed. The offer was revoked. No school. No apology. Just silence. But silence isn't the same as peace. Because while they try to erase me, I'm still here. And Grayson's not done. We've gone underground digitally. Encrypted drives. Dead drop file sharing. The woman who helped us escape? Her name's Yasmin. Former social worker. Whistleblower. She showed me documents the public's never seen. Contracts. Funding trails. Blueprints for expanding the program to 20 schools by next fall. And then something worse. A list of flagged students. Red-coded profiles. Potential resistors. Some were kids I knew. One had already moved away. Another had gone missing. They're not just monitoring us. They're curating outcomes. Yasmin's prepping the files for media release. But she says it's not enough. We need faces. We need witnesses. We need people to see what Cadell really is, not just hear about it. And Grayson? He's preparing to expose him live. At the next board meeting. But last night Leah texted me. Just one sentence. Don't go to the meeting. You won't walk out. The night before the meeting I barely spoke. Not because I was scared, but because everything inside me already felt broken open. You can't unknow what I know. You can't unsee faces behind smiling brochures. Grayson had everything queued. A full dump of documents, video highlights from the workshop, screenshots of red flag students. Yasmin had secured a press contact. The plan was simple. Public records plus emotional truth plus real names equals undeniable. But the message from Leah echoed louder than all of that. Don't go to the meeting. You won't walk out. I didn't reply. 'Cause I wasn't sure if it was a threat. Or a warning from someone who knew too much, too late. That morning I dressed carefully. Dark hoodie. Burner phone. Backup files on a flash drive around my neck. The board meeting was held in the Ridgeview Unified Auditorium. Same chairs. Same stage. Only this time the audience wasn't students. It was parents. Staff. Cameras. We arrived early. Grayson sat on the far aisle. Yasmin was already speaking with a local journalist. They looked calm. I didn't. I kept seeing shadows move where there were none. Kept expecting Cadell's voice to cut through the hum like a wire through skin. Then at 6:37 p.m., the district director stepped up to the podium. She didn't greet us. Didn't acknowledge the crowd. She just said, "Before we begin tonight's agenda, we regret to announce that Mr. Elliot Cadell has voluntarily resigned from his position due to personal reasons. Effective immediately." Just like that. Gone. No investigation. No hearing. No admission. You ever watch a bomb go off silently? People clapped because they thought it was over. Because removing the name meant removing the blame. Grayson didn't clap. He stood, took the mic, and calmly, clearly, he read the names of the kids on the flagged list. One by one, he told the audience about the folder, about the risk profiles, about how silence isn't safety, it's strategy. And he ended with a question. If you knew someone was hurting children in the shadows, and the system wouldn't stop them, would you wait? Or would you act? There was no applause. Just silence. And then Leah stood up, took out her phone, and played the recording of her first session with Cadell. No edits. Just truth. You should have seen the superintendent's face. You ever see a lie unravel in real time? Everything after that moved fast. The media ran with it. Parents exploded. The board issued a statement that sounded like an apology but read like a cover-up. The behavioral tier systems program was paused. Not ended. Paused. Cadell disappeared. No charges. Just resignation. And Grayson? He left town 3 days later. No goodbye. Just a note slipped under my door. You kept going when no one believed you. That's what makes you dangerous to them. Don't stop. I'm still here. Back in school. New counselor. New posters about mental health. New slogans about community healing. But I know better. They erased the files. But I kept the fear. Because behind every program is a plan. Behind every plan is a person. And behind every person is either a lie or a choice. Want to know what I chose? I kept the flash drive. I uploaded everything. Encrypted, distributed, irreversible. I'm not waiting for someone else to save us. I'm a whistle no one can unblow. And if you're reading this, if you've ever been told to move on, to let it go, to stop asking questions, I want you to remember something. Sometimes the only way to stay safe is to become the one they're afraid of. And sometimes, that's exactly what they deserve.